Namaste.
Well, good morning, beloved of God. Right where you are at this moment, the light of Spirit shines through you. Infinitely loved by God, you are the light of the world. I'm Doug, and I welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Waco this morning. If you haven't already done so, it's probably a good time to reach in pockets and purses and put that cell phone onto a silent or off position. Stand as you're able so we can join in congregational singing.
God in you, God in me, is the love that sets us free. God in you, God in me, is the light we all can be. It's the essence of us all, the whole of humankind. It's the source of all my good, the universal mind. And God in you, God in me, is the truth of who we are. God in you, God in me, is more powerful by far than anything we can think or dream. It's the best that we can be. And so it is, God in you, God in me. God in you, God in me, is the love that sets us free. God in you, God in me, is the light we all can be. It's the essence of us all, the whole of humankind. It's the source of all my good, the universal mind. And God in you, God in me, is the truth of who we are. God in you, God in me, is more powerful by far than anything we can think or dream. It's the best that we can be. And so it is, God in you, God in me. And so it is, God in you, God in me.
So let us say together our statement of truth, which is on the screen. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. We are a beacon of love and light for those who need this spiritual home right now. And our vision, mission, and core value for today, our vision, to awaken an awareness of spirit in our lives through modern application of ancient wisdom. And our mission, raise consciousness, transform lives, heal the planet one person at a time, beginning with me. And our core value for today is inclusivity. Together, we embrace each person as a unique expression of spirit. And the daily word I'll be doing this morning, May the 1st. Welcome to May, everyone. The topic is I carry joy in my heart. My many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know they're not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy, is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature and to my oneness with all good and all life. It's an attitude I hold in my mind and a feeling in my heart The happiness I feel in life depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God and by making time for the things that make me happiness. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me, my gift to share generously. And from Isaiah 55:12, for you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. And our affirmation together is I carry joy in my heart. I carry joy in my heart. I did it all wrong. I had to mess something up. Nothing right. I guess with an affirmation, you're supposed to do it over and over anyway, right?
Wore everybody out yesterday with the yard sale and stuff, which went very well and surprised me. But this is the time in our service when we have an opportunity to get up to greet one another, to say hi, and just to share. And we have a new person with us today, Barney, and I'd like everybody to make him feel. Oh, Mark. Yeah, you know, I get it right once in a while. I'm following his lead. Anyway, let's get up and greet one another if we would. Okay, we got another song, I believe.
Be the love you are. Be the love you are. Just as Master Jesus taught us. Be the love you are. Shine the light you bear. Shine the light you bear. Just as Master Jesus taught us. Shine the light you bear. Sing the song you hear. Sing the song you hear. Just as Master Jesus taught us. Sing the song you hear. Know the joy of life. Know the joy of life. Just as Master Jesus taught us. Know the joy of life.
Good morning, everyone. Small crowd we got here today, but special one. And we had a lot of people here yesterday sharing for our... Huh? Okay. I forgot somebody. Hi out there in the ethers. We'd like to welcome you. I might have got around to that, but I'd like to welcome you now. We all know that you're special and part of our crowd along with everyone else here. So good morning. I'm Reverend Don, and I welcome each of you to Unity Spiritual Center here this morning. Together we affirm and celebrate our unity, our oneness with each other, our oneness with all that is, and our oneness in God. Your presence is essential. For each of you is a unique aspect of the energy that is Unity Spiritual Center of Waco. Right here and right now, and we know that none of us is here by accident or coincidence. Unity is a New Thought denomination, yet New Thought is nothing new to the world. It is in reality a synthesis of the greatest concepts from the minds and spirits of humankind across the ages. The laws of Moses, the love of Christ, the ethics of Buddha, the morals of Confucius, the 5 pillars of Islam, and the deep spiritual realization of the Hindus, all find an exalted place in the philosophy of unity. In unity, we believe that all people are created with sacred worth, regardless of culture, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or creed, and we know that neither unity nor God leaves anyone out. So as we open our service today, let us open with prayer. So if you join me, infinite presence, your spirit, your love is within this place, within each of us. We open our minds, we open our hearts. We look around us and we see the beauty of this world. We see the beauty in each other. As we look into each other's eyes, we see your presence. As we look around us, especially right now, this church and the gardens around it, we see the beauty coming forth that is God. For your presence is in all things. And we are grateful just to be able to see that beauty as we look around. To see that beauty in ourselves. To allow ourselves to open our hearts so that we may share your presence, your love. We see those people who are asking for prayer, for help, surrounded in your light, your love, your healing power. We see the leaders of not only this country, but all countries throughout our world, surrounded in your light, working together to bring about harmony, to bring about peace. But starting, we open ourselves. For all things, there's a starting place. And each of us can be that light, that love that brings about change. When the disciples asked, how should they pray? Jesus gave them the Lord's Prayer, which we say together now as translated from the Aramaic, the language that Jesus spoke. It is now on the screen, and we'll say it together. Infinite presence, which is everywhere, your name is sacred, your kingdom is come, your will is throughout the earth, even as it is throughout the universe. You give us our needful bread from day to day, and you forgive our offenses, even as we forgive our offenders, and you let us not enter into materialism, but you separate us from error, because yours are the kingdom, the power, and the song, and the praise, from all ages, throughout all ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. Each of us is the light and love of God. Spiritual beings having a human experience. You are God's beloved, and we embrace you today.
You go to the river to find the flow. Go to the ocean to find the deep below. You go to the mountains to find the heights. Go to the brightest star to find the sunlight. Where do you go to find your breathing? Where do you go to find your pride? Where do you go to find believing? Inside. You go to your family to find your past. Go to your lover to find romance. You go to the music to find the dance. Go to the children to find innocence. Where do you go to find your feelings? Where do you go to find your guide? Where do you go
inside.
Nice video. Lucinda's not with us today. She's, excuse me, got a little bit of a bug, so we didn't have her voice. But anyway, I'd like to start off saying today's a little unusual. We have a new computer that's a little different than our last one. So we're getting used to a new system. Ask everybody to bear with us while we do that. And we have a new person back in the back. We're breaking in also. So it's not just me. And I'd like to welcome Mark. This entire life experience is about influence. It's about what we can do with the power that has been given us. This lesson shares a positive way that God can be in our lives, leading us, guiding us. It's about motivating you to share the specialness that you are when you form a partnership with God and the power of your influence. It's about circles of influence and how we can change ourselves, how we can change each other, and in turn, change the world. Anita Baker once said, I say if it's going to be done, let's do it. Let's not put it in the hands of fate. Let's not put it into the hands of someone who doesn't know me. I know me best. So I take a breath and I go ahead to do whatever needs to be done. Catherine Dunham said, I used to want the words she tried put on her tombstones, but now she says, I want the words, I did it. And I read the comic, Kathy. Many of you probably remember that. In the comic, it said it takes 21 days to embrace a new habit. Then she thinks, in the next frame, she says, that's not very much at all. 21 days. And the next frame says, just 21 days. In the grand scheme of things, of life, just 21 days. And then the next she says, that's 20 days, 23 hours and 59 minutes longer than it takes to embrace an old habit, a bad habit. Perhaps we need to form some new habits ourselves. Life is change, but growth is optional. We're here this morning because many of us, I believe, don't want to continue life the way it has been. Many of us want a life that's higher, richer, and better in ways for ourselves and for those around us. That's why we're here. We choose growth. We choose to have the best life that we could ever possibly have. And we know that with God, we can do that. Because we are saying that with God, we are not afraid of storms. We're learning to sail our ships. We're ready to take a chance to move out of the harbor, move to do things that we never thought we could do before, to move forward, to grow, to learn, and to be more than we think we could. With God's help, this morning we're going to influence ourselves in positive ways, being proactive, with God's help aspiring to leadership, but not from a sense of power, but a sense of growing through God, with God. We can spread the essence of God wherever we go. We're going to talk about doing the extraordinary, which you do know that ordinary people can do, working with God. We're going to talk about remembering people who have influenced your life from the past, giving an influence on where you are. There will be help for us and empowerment as we can do the things we thought we never could. I'd like to say a personal prayer today that the words I say to you will begin to make a real difference in your life. I pray that these words are like seeds that are implanted within your mind and begin to grow. And I pray a week from now that this power, this learning is stronger than it is today. There's a rhythm in life. Each of us has a rhythm within us. Part of that rhythm is our heartbeat, but it's so much more. It's so much more to allow the flow of God life to flow through us and allow that happen in and through each of us. There is a possibility in you, one life, your life, that has the potential to touch another life. And both lives are changed by that contact. One life touches another life, and potentially the whole world is changed. King Duncan, a professional speaker, tells a story about an Englishman, John Howard. He was born in 1899 in South Africa. That was during the Boer War. And as he was living through that, an incident happened. There was a British journalist that went down to report. He got picked up. He was in a Boer POW camp. He escaped. And when he escaped, he went from house to house to get help. And when he'd beat on the door, the people would say, "Go away. We don't want to get in trouble. Go back to the POW camp. Maybe you won't survive. We don't know, but we just don't want to get involved." So he knocked on the door of John Howard. John Howard let him in, hid him, protected him, helped to nurse him back to health. It was a slow process, a lot of work. Hid him in the basement. He'd had rats had gnawed on his arms and legs when he was in the POW camp. Terrible treatment. But he got him back to health. He escaped, went back to England. When he got back to England, he started writing the story of what he experienced and what was going on in South Africa during all of this. It was such a profound story that the papers around the world had picked it up, rewrote it. It got him international fame and catapulted him into international politics. That man was Winston Churchill. Imagine what would have happened if John Howard would not have helped him, would not have helped him get by to get away. Imagine what would have happened if Winston Churchill had not been in England for World War II to motivate the English people, inspiring them to go forward to stop Hitler. Imagine what would have happened if Hitler would not have been defeated. Perhaps today you and I would be sitting here speaking German. Some people are probably like that. I don't want to learn a new English or a new language. That person was extremely important in life and life's events. Yeah, Winston Churchill. But he's not the only one. John Howard. Imagine if he hadn't stepped up to help. The world would have never known Winston Churchill. Things could have been so much different. There was a letter in Psychology Today, a magazine, by Dr. Robert Healy. He wrote about one of his patients. This patient was driving down the road in a small town. He was driving to the bridge in the town. He was going to commit suicide. And on his way, he stopped at a stoplight. And as he sat at that stoplight that moment, he looked out and looked over at the sidewalk. There was a little old lady standing there. She looked him in the eye and smiled. Had never seen him before, but just as she looked at him, she just smiled. He said he drove forward then. And as he drove forward, he was thinking, well, maybe life is not so bad. Maybe there's something in me that needs to change. So he changed his mind. Decided he wasn't going to commit suicide, he needed help. So he went to therapy, went to this doctor. And this doctor was helping him. He put it in the magazine, so we heard about it, giving us an opportunity to experience that story, that experience. And he went on to live. Imagine he might get married, have a family, and some of his kids might go forward, or his grandkids, even his great-grandkids, to do something magnificent like Winston Churchill. And it all began because of a little old lady that smiled at a young man sitting at a stoplight. What would have happened if I was at that corner and I looked at that man? Or perhaps you were standing there and looked at him. Would he still be alive? Would you have smiled? One smile can make the difference for somebody's entire life. We have a chance to spread God's love, God's light in all that we do. An old woman smiles at a passerby. She doesn't even know the man, but the implications of that act are enormous. A man has decided to live, and he will go on to touch other people's lives. We interact with each other. We make a difference, each of us. I'd like to share with you the law of 250. The average person in a week contacts 250 other people, mostly casual contact, but some are intense interactions. Every one of those contacts is fraught with a possibility of a life-changing touch. That is just one level about the people we have contact with. A few years ago, a minister gave a lesson that was similar to this, and there was a mathematics professor part of the audience, and he challenged him on it. He said, well, it was a good sermon, but there's no way I contact 250 people in a week. Of course, I see my students every day. So the minister told him, he says, okay, you're a mathematics professor. I'm going to give you a counter that the ushers use at the door. We don't need one, but at the door to count the people as they come in. And every time you come in contact with somebody, just push the button. Well, he said, okay, I'll do that. Well, he came back in a week and he said he was astonished. Not only had he seen 250 people, but he'd seen 518 contacts during the week. 518 possibilities of a passerby and a chance to make their lives better. This is the bottom line of what I'm talking about, what it means in our lives. I hope this morning in this room, we will decide we're going to change and increase the positive influence in the world by 1%. Each of you have 50 friends. Each of those friends have 50 friends. That means of the original group, you alone now have 2,500 contacts. If we take it one level further, That would be 125,000 people. One step beyond that is 6 million people. If you go on to level 5 or 6, there's enough contacts to include everyone in this world. What a difference you can make by simply agreeing to allow God to come through you. You're saying, well, there's some overlap there. Going back, sure there is. And we may not include everybody in earth, but we have that potential. We have the potential just to spread a little love. Maybe have somebody else's life get a little better. Maybe somebody stopped at a stoplight. And maybe they'll smile at someone else, and we can move this on down the line. And that doesn't even count. Nowadays, things are so much better, faster. We have radio, TV, internet. So many possibilities right now to spread good, to spread love. And I'm just, excuse me a second. I'm just mentioning one generation. What about our children or our friends' children and the opportunity they have to spread love also? To increase our awareness of God, our positive influence in life. One life. What a difference one life can make. I'm aware that what Jesus said is true. The real difference I will make in this world is through you and through your children. This is where the magic comes. It is probably I should say, not going to be by a minister who stands up here behind this lectern. It's going to be by one of you. Maybe you talk to a shoe clerk, and that shoe clerk does something to change the world. But one of you is going to do something so big, and you're going to do something so big that you have no idea that you actually did it. But that doesn't matter, and who cares? As long as you can be a part of it, a part of something bigger than yourself. First, with God's help. I pray that you are a major influence upon yourself. We want to influence others, but first we have to influence ourselves. That is a big responsibility. And there are many choices to make in any given day. Casey Stengel once was helping Billy Martin as he coached a baseball team. He was giving him advice on managing the team, and he said, on any team, there are 15 players who will run through a wall for you. 5 players will hate you. 5 players will be undecided, and 5 players will love you. The secret is when you are on the road, never room a good guy with a loser. The loser will blame the coach for everything. But if you keep him isolated, don't room the two together, you can keep that isolation, you can stop it from spreading. I ask you, are you isolating yourself from thoughts that are not true about your potential? Are you isolating yourself from people who are telling you things that are not true about your potential? What kinds of thoughts and people are you around? Are you around people who motivate you and give you excitement about life? Or are you around people that say, well, don't work that hard, you know, you're only getting paid by the hour, what difference can you make? After all, you're just an ordinary person. Or are you around people that tell you with God you can go all the way to provide humanity with lasting success? Second, With God's help, be proactive. Decide to make a deliberate change in the world. It is as simple as deciding to make a change to be a positive influence every moment of every day, and it begins with the smile of a little old woman on a bridge, or your smile with the next person you encounter. Third, with God's courage, aspire to leadership, because leaders touch more people and have more influence, but don't do it for a sense of power. Don't make it a power trip. We're talking about a God trip. Hear what God can do through you. You are not doing it for you. You are doing it for God. You are doing things you thought you could never do. If you think it is for God and for God's essence, love. Fourth, as you work with God, know the truth about what the Bible tells you. Ordinary people do extraordinary things. Fifth, celebrate the people in your life who have influenced you. This will give you great courage and foundation for all your actions. When you remember you are more inclined to go the extra mile to influence others, and thanks God for the lights in the past that light your path into the future. Follow Jesus by making a positive difference in this world, one person at a time. Each of you have that potential. Each of you are a unique aspect of God. Just to open your hearts and allow your essence to flow out. Thank you. So let's take those thoughts now into a time of meditation. So right where you are, just sit back. Allow your eyes to close. Relax. And take a deep breath. Slowly breathe in the light, the love, the essence of God that's around, within, and expressed as you. And as we slowly breathe in, we slowly breathe out. We allow ourselves just to sit in that knowing that we are a unique expression of the energy that is God. Each of us can open our hearts, our minds, to being who we are. For we are a spiritual being having a physical experience. We are each a timeless expression of God, of spirit. So let's just relax now for a few moments, allowing ourselves to feel the presence of God. now as we come back to this place, to this time, when we're ready, open your eyes, look around, and see the truth of who you are and your world. And so it is. Amen.
Here for the first time and that you've received a packet of information. We hope that you'll fill that out and give it to one of our ministers. And please know that we welcome and we bless you. And we invite you to join us for coffee and snacks and conversation in the fellowship hall after the service. This is the time in our service when we have an opportunity to give back to the work of Spirit through our offerings and our tithes. We give in love and gratitude for our own prosperity in its many forms, which comes to us through God, our instant, constant, and abundant source. And Mark, we'd like to know that we honor and acknowledge that you are a blessing to us and that your presence here today is your gift to this ministry, and you're not expected to participate in the offering. Will the ushers please come forward? But the second time we're going to get you. So I invite you to hold your offerings in your hand as we say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all of the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and I am grateful.
And shall we circle up?
You're joining too, aren't you?
She better turn off this mic. There you go. Yeah, yeah. And shall we, now we can, our prosperity affirmation. We affirm the continued growth and prosperity of Unity Spiritual Center of Waco, and we are grateful. In our prayer for protection, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. As we go forward this week, let each of us share the love we are. Let the church say amen. Amen. Anyway, it was nice to have you here. And it was nice to see you. Good. And we should have some food downstairs.